Kate, you've asked us to think about gender disparity issues, consciousness of these issues, when we're talking about leadership and in relationship. And there's certainly, for everybody who's in youth ministry, a place where these intersect. You have a young person who's the youth minister, and they might be 22 or 23 years old, and they've got young people in the youth group who are 17 or 18 years old. Gender is going to be an issue in these relationships, but how do we keep it a healthy part of the relationships?
It's always going to be part of the relationship. And as I tell all the seminary students I teach who have to think about issues of attraction, at some point someone's going to find you attractive, and at some point you're probably going to find someone else in your ministry attractive. It's going to happen. I think admitting the fact that it's probably going to happen and being aware is the first step. That allows us to know that we got to be careful about that boundary. If we think it's never going to happen, that boundary is going to sneak up on us, and we're probably going to cross it, and that's going to result in a very bad circumstance, especially for the young person. But if we think ahead of time, how am I going to deal with this? That helps us out. So think ahead. What are you going to do if one of your youth finds you attractive? If you start to see behavior that you would recognize as flirtatious, that might be across sort of normative gender lines, right? Boy likes girl or girl likes boy. It might be unexpected. It might be a young man and a young male youth minister who maybe that's not his sexual orientation, so he doesn't expect it. So it could go across gender lines, it could go across orientation lines. I think what's most important is, as a youth minister, you're modeling healthy relationships regardless of gender. So as I tell so many youth across the country, it doesn't matter what gender people are in a relationship. What matters is the kind of values you treat them with. Now, you might be attracted to someone because of their gender, or their looks, or their hair, or whatever. But that's the first step. That's attraction. That's often something we don't even control. We control our behaviors with regard to it. So as a youth minister, I want to be thinking about the ways in which my behaviors communicate the values I want in a relationship. So I want young people to be able to see that whether I'm a young female or a young male youth minister, you need to interact with me on a basis that's honest, that creates justice, that is consensual. You don't get to touch me if I don't want to be touched, right? Very basic things in youth ministry, which we often cross very quickly. So if we can model those relationships, that sets us up for healthy models. And then I actually think in many cases, we just have to be explicit. So there was a question today from a young youth minister who said, well, what about young women if they find me attractive? Like, what am I supposed to do? I really think in that case, you name it. Part of what we don't do well when it comes to sexuality issues is communicate about them. So modeling good communication is really important. Saying, the behavior that you're exhibiting towards me right now is not appropriate. I'm a youth minister, you're a youth in this group. These are the kinds of ways we can interact. These are the kinds of ways we won't interact. What I want you to do is find your empowerment in who you are and the relationship you have with God. That is not based on the relationship you have with me. I can help you find that relationship. I can help you see the ways in which you can be empowered, but I'm not a substitute for that, which is often the kind of line that youth are crossing when they're attracted to or like their youth minister.